Thank you much. So the basic overview is we're kind of going to understand some of the basics. If we don't have the basics down, levels of measurement and IV and DV, it's going to be a rougher road because the tool actually incorporates those kinds of terminology and concepts. Creating an Intellectus account. How do we set up data? If you have data, awesome. CSV, Excel, or SPSS is all fine. Otherwise, I have example data set. And then we'll go through conducting some analyses. How do you download and edit your results and Q&A. So for those that are aware of levels of measurement, I'm sorry to have to bore you for a minute, but nevertheless, as a quick refresher, there's basically the tool uses 3 levels of measurement or distinguishes between or among 3 levels of measurement. The first is nominal, name only in Latin. Basically, it's just a label, male and female, Republican, Democrat, okay, things of that sort. So and it has that icon. So that Venn diagram icon, you'll see that throughout, okay, in data management, in plots, and in analyses. So look for those 3 icons there. The next level is really ordinal. It has labels, plus it has order. So horse race, first, second, third, okay, there's an order. They have a name. You're the first, you're the second, you're the third, okay? But they're not necessarily equal in distance or interval. So the second horse can come in, a nose after. The third horse can come in, 3 lengths later. So, okay. The final third type of level of measurement is continuous, call it continuous, or scale, or interval, or ratio, works here too. I'm using all of these terms synonymously to basically say they have all 3 aspects. They have a label, okay? 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 7 degrees, 8-year-old, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. They have labels. They have order, okay? And they're equally spaced, right? So between 3 degrees and 4 degrees and 4 degrees and 5 degrees is the same interval as, and treated as such, as age and things of that sort. So it's important to know these things because some tests require certain levels of measurement. For example, a t-test must have a scale level dependent variable, okay? Outcome variable is scale, okay, with the ruler, all right? And the independent variable has to be dichotomous nominal variable, labeled variable, okay? Okay, control group, treatment group, or whatever. All right. Basics of types of variables, okay? So basically, there's an independent variable. Typically, the researcher kind of controls that or manipulates that and says, I want to look at runtimes by age group. The researcher selects that. By sex, the researcher selects that. By country, the researcher selects that. So typically, the independent variable is under the control of the researcher, okay? All right. The dependent variable is the outcome variable. It's typically, okay, dependent upon, okay, the person or the observation, right? I'm looking at runtimes by sex. Great. That runtime, okay, that mile run, okay, is dependent upon that individual, okay? How I'm analyzing that by sex or by age or by country, that's an independent variable. So just typically speaking, any outcome variable, that is your dependent measure. IVs are things that we're looking at it by or something of that sort, okay? Okay, so given that brief introduction, let's go ahead and get logged on now, all right? And you can get logged on, okay, by going to my.intellectus360.com/login/quant-workshop. If you have any trouble, you can get to, actually, they should be communicating via the Q&A or the chat with you.
Yes, they should be communicating via the Q&A. So please, any questions, please put them there and we will be sure to answer them.
Wonderful, as well as logging questions. So,
Yes.
okay, but this should get you there. All right. While you're all getting logged in, let me just say a quick word about common problems. Okay. I hate to say it, but for now decades, okay, now decades, faculty and students come to me with three basic core problems. Okay. All right. I don't know which test to conduct. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to conduct it, how to navigate the tool to conduct it, where the assumptions of that test are. Okay. And I don't know how to interpret that output. And I'll give you the 30-second intellectus overview that shows you how we've overcome all three of those things. Okay. All right. So without further ado, and we'll talk about loading up your data under masterclass. We'll get there. Okay. But I'll get there in 2 seconds. But get logged in and we'll get to uploading data. I guess I'll also mention that we have a data cleaning wizard. As it turns out, 95% of these quantitative jobs are data cleaning, getting the data in, creating subscales, okay, things of this sort. All right. So we have a data cleaning wizard. We also have an AI summary, which can look at all of your output, okay, and summarize that. And that could be a kickoff, perhaps, to your discussion section. So without further ado, let's just get to it. All right. So let me just say one thing about, let me just tackle those first three problems, right? I don't know what to do. You can go to the decision tree and say, I want to predict an outcome. That's scale. I'm doing a linear regression. What test? Linear regression. To conduct the analyses, all you do is select the DV. What is the outcome variable? Teaching effectiveness. What's the IV? Okay. Emotional intelligence. All right. That's all there is to the conducting. As you'll see in 2 seconds, the assumptions of each of the tests are built in with a helpful scroll over. Okay. So assumptions built in with scroll overs. And we don't know how to interpret it. Well, it's in plain English, literally. I know you have to know a little bit, but basically you can read this and say, okay, guess what? The model was significant. All right. And you can see that p-value is less than 0.01. All right. And I don't know what it means. Well, gosh, we have the interpretation here as well. Okay. EI, emotional intelligence, predicted teaching effectiveness. Okay? And here's the interpretation of it. When I increase emotional intelligence by 1 unit, teaching effectiveness increases by 1 unit. APA table, helpful scroll over. Okay. Some of these projects are 10 seconds. I mean, really. And if I told you all the times that I've heard that it's going to take 2 weeks, it's going to take, no, it takes an hour, okay? And things can get, and 95% of that's going to be the data management. All right. So, all right. So just as a quick overview of what to do, decision tree, and then the analysis takes you to that test. All right. Let's talk about Qualtrics data. Let's talk about Survey Monkey data. All right. You might well have a data set that looks like this. Okay. That is, you have the variable name. You may have the question as a second level of heading, and you may have the options or the levels identified thereafter. Okay. You might have your variables with labels inside of it instead of numbers. Okay. I need to turn those into numbers so I can create a pre-test knowledge score, post-test knowledge score. And you may have an open-ended question. So I just want to share that that's one way data may look. Okay. So I want to demonstrate the data cleaning wizard. And then we'll get into uploading data and then taking of the data and so forth and managing what you have. Okay, so I can upload data, and if you have data, you can do this too, okay? So under projects, go to upload data, and then upload, I have this in a Excel format, I think. What is this? Yeah. So I happen to have a Excel file of the Rosenberg self-esteem. Okay. So select the file, choose the file, okay, and then upload that file. All right. Now, so when you upload data, it dumps you into the data cleaning wizard. If you don't want to clean data or you don't need to clean data, you can just exit out of it there, okay? But I'm going to keep going for a moment here. So the first thing you want to do is get rid of those additional headers, okay? We just need the variable name and the actual data. That's it. We don't need long question names. We don't need levels and so forth. Just so you might want to just dump those, okay? Apply changes. You can see those 2 rows of headers have been deleted, and I go to the next. Okay. Edit variable names. You know, I might, if I wanted to edit variable names, okay. Okay, or if you had very long names, you may want to change that. Okay. You can apply, go to next. So here, sometimes, even in electronic surveys, sometimes the males can be endorsed with a capital M and then a small m. You want to clean all of that up. Okay. Here I have disagree, one with 3 E's, one with 2 E's. This is before the merge. This is after the merge. So I want to put these 2 disagrees into the same level, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to apply changes. Okay. Then I can start creating composite scores, okay? So I do have scale data. You have to know what level, how many levels, how many points you have. So I have a 5-point agreement scale. It has labels like that, okay? I need to turn into numbers from 1 to 5 like that. All of these need to be changed from labels to numbers into those variables. And in one fell swoop, it does that. Next thing I want to do is create subscales. Most of the time we create subscales. Here, this piece does a few things in the same time. So I could name a subscale, pretest knowledge. Okay. I can put the items in that I want. Oopsie. The items that I want over here. If you have a reverse coded item, that just means the question was asked in the opposite manner. So we want all high numbers to mean not good, you know, excellent knowledge or knowledgeable. Okay. So this might want to have been asked in reverse. And the scoring sheet will have that for you already. So you don't have to guess at these things. Use pre-existing surveys that will come with reliability, it will come with validity, and it'll also come with a scoring sheet about how to combine these items. Okay. So here I've named a subscale, pretest knowledge. It happens to be, I want let's just say a sum, okay? And I have 1 reverse coded item, apply changes, and I have 1 more to do. You'll notice that pretest knowledge is there, okay? And post-test knowledge, okay? I'm gonna sum them. I'm gonna endorse the items that go into, okay, that. Reverse code as necessary. Okay. Apply changes. Go to next and finish. Okay. And just go to continue. So here's what we've done. So we've turned the labels into numbers, and then we've created these 2 composite scores. I want to do 2 other quick things here. One is I want to turn my age into groups. Okay. So I'm going to change from scale because I really don't want it 1 to 4. I want it kind of ordinal, and I can just go right into, you can click into these different levels, okay? Ordinal, and this happens to be, you know, under 30, okay? 30 to 50, 51 to 65, and then 66 plus. Okay, so you can just, and then I'm putting that back into the same variable. You can make a new variable if you would like, but I'm putting it to replace that existing variable. Okay, and you can see that here. The other thing I'm going to do is that text classification. So here, there was an open-ended question about transformational leadership, and you can go to text classification, select that variable, and what it's going to do is it really uses several different tools to come up with different buckets, okay? So here, those buckets are transformational leadership, strategic thinking, and now you can use these categories, okay, and interact with the rest of your data. So just to know that that's there. And that's really handled data management, okay? The other quick thing I would say is once you've created these scores, okay, or buckets, you want to download that data, okay? So under this download data, you can see your new scores here, okay? Your new variables. So you're going to want that, all right? Okay. The other things I'll just demonstrate quickly is that there's, 10 typical plots. I can do a profile plot. I want to do one quick thing before I do that. So I just want to make the post-test knowledge much higher. Okay. Okay. So under plots, again, 10 typical plots. They're very simple to use. Notice the icons. Okay, that's the level of measurement that can go in there. So if I want to look at pre-test and post-test by gender, okay, and hit submit. So you can kind of see what's happening from pre-test to post-test for each gender, okay? All right, you can mess with the labels, you can label these things, you can export them in numerous ways. Okay? You should know too, though, that all of these plots, all of the data management, all of the plots and all the analysis all have a video tutorial. It's a quick 3-minute video to show you how to conduct that. Okay. The other thing I just want to briefly show is under the analysis really has a pretty robust set of tests. Okay, descriptives, all the correlations, z-tests, tests of proportions, t-tests, ANOVAs, and basically there's different types of ANOVAs. I'll stop there. MANOVAs, regressions, okay, chi-squares and other non-parametrics, SEM modeling, and then other advanced analyses like mediation moderation, which really uses the Preacher and Hayes. And I'll probably just do a webinar just on these things. But I mean, the way that we've simplified this thing is tremendous. Typically, you're running several regressions. Here, you're putting in IV, DV, and potential mediator, and you're kind of home. Okay. And then let me just do a couple quick analyses, and then we'll get to anyone who's shared projects with me. So basically, you want to run descriptives on everything that's important. Okay, so our demographics, our pre and post tests, and then our buckets of leadership. Okay, so you put those variables in. What you're going to notice is that the descriptives come out in APA tables. Okay, so you don't have to fuss making tables anymore. And it has a little write-up around that. All right. Most frequently observed category of age was 66 plus, which accounted for, there were 7 of them at 35%. Okay. They also have scroll overs. Okay. For the scale variables, also in an APA table, also has scroll overs and also has a little description. And then just to demonstrate, because lots of folks just are doing simple things, which is fine. Just to exemplify a test, paired sample t-test, which answers the question, essentially, is there differences from pre to post on knowledge? So you can just go and select the two variables, pre-test and post-test. You'll notice that they're both scale. You'll notice that there's a video tutorial there. You'll also notice there's different options to be had, okay? Up here in the right. So for all of these tests, even sophisticated tests or non-sophisticated tests, you're selecting the test, you put in the variables, you're hitting calculate. That's it. There's no other difficulty going on here. So for each test, there's assumptions are built in. So you're not scratching your head of saying, what are the assumptions? Where do I find the assumptions? And how do I interpret the assumptions? Those days are gone. The assumptions built in, the assumption of a pair t-test is assumption of normality. It can be assessed with the Shapiro-Wilk. It actually conducts the test, okay? And interpret that test. When a Shapiro-Wilk is significant, that means you do not have normality. You had the results of the test. Guess what? There was significant difference. That is to say, the post-test has higher scores than the pre-test, okay? And you have some interpretation sitting here. One way of putting it, you have APA tables with scrollovers, okay? Okay. And you have a plot, okay? All right. The Wilcoxon. This is typically my faculty question, okay? Did we ask for the Wilcoxon? The answer would be no, right? We did not ask for that. We asked for a t-test. When a quantitative assumption is violated, okay, we can enable the non-parametric test to automatically come out. What does that mean? What that means is that different tests can assess the same thing that we're looking at, right? Which is there a difference from pre to post test without the assumptions? Okay, the Wilcoxon is that such test. All right, and here we can see that yes, there's also a difference. Okay, and we're looking at medians and things of that sort. So we're looking at different stats. Nevertheless, you have a picture pretty quickly that yes, post-test scores, okay, are higher than pre-test scores. And then you could download everything into a Word document. And in that Word document, we have things. We have the descriptives. Sorry, I should make this bigger. Okay, the t-test, the Wilcoxon test. We also have APA-style references for all the in-text citations. We also have a curated glossary of all the terms and symbols that are in that document, specifically around descriptives and the paired t-test and the Wilcoxon. So that's sitting there too, okay? We also have some raw output, which has some additional information that is not in the write-up. So all that is sitting there waiting for you in that download document. All righty. And then I guess I'll show the AI summary, which is, this is particularly good if you have lots and lots of correlations or post hoc tests, okay, that, as I said earlier, that perhaps for the beginning part of your discussion, analysis of leadership knowledge, so it's making some inferences here, okay? The study talks about gender and age groups. Comparison revealed significant improvement, okay? So read over this. This is AI driven, so you have to validate that, okay? That is, validate that language with the outcome. These results are not AI driven, okay? These are precise, exactly 100%, okay? So you have to put that in your own voice, all right? So that's been published with Turnitin, but that statistic, okay, is precisely that. Those numbers are exactly that, okay? So there's no question there. You can use the tables as is, you can use the accurate interpretation as is, but you need to rephrase, okay? All righty. So with that all being said, do we have folks that have shared projects? So let's see. If someone has shared their project, would you just raise your hand? And then Ashley can let you in. I don't see anyone with shared projects. I think this one's been sitting for a while.
Jim, we do have a hand raised here. I'm gonna allow this person to talk. I don't want to mess your name up. Last name is Taiwo. So I just unmuted you.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hi there.
Special election period. Hello, yeah, I am Bami Dele Taiwo. I'm from GCU.
Hello
I
there.
did I,
We love GCU.
yeah, I was trying to upload my project on intellect statistics, but for some reason I was having some issues, so I actually just emailed it to you. I don't know if you got that email.
Let's see here. So hang on. I should look at these things until. All right. So yes. Okay, so you have SPSS data, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you just go to, and I can share this back with you. So you just go to upload data. Oh, you have a little, is that, well, I think it's you in the background. If you wouldn't mind muting yourself when you're not speaking, that would be great, because you have a little background noise there. So I would just go to the upload data, go to SPSS, and go, it looks like choose file, and then final demographic. And we can tell because of that extension, that .sav, upload file. I just exit out of this, okay, and hit continue. So this is the data. Okay, is this about right?
Yes, that's the demographic data.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is, obviously you want to change these to ordinal, 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 and then you want to merge those together. What's the best way to do that? Um, I think the best way, how many do you have here? You have enough. I think the best way to do that is just make this scale. Okay, here's your example. Okay, when you have math and several. Okay, remember that data cleaning wizard? All right.
Yes.
This is the root case here. All right. All of these things, you want them all as male, but to merge these two, I'm gonna merge them as a one. Okay. All right. And put that back in that variable. All right, I'm gonna put this as a scale. Again, you're like my poster person of of one to collapse these things, okay? All right, so put these in. I'm gonna merge these, make them a two, okay? Put that in the same variable. And then what I would do is actually just create a new variable and call this sex is fine. I want a sum. Let's see if it will do it. Let's see if it will do it with the zeros. We'll find out in a second. Nope. So it needs to have that in there. Oh, what to do, what to do. I would, here's one way to do it. I would go to edit data. I would do this. Because, okay, did I mention that 95% of the job is data management? Okay, I'm sure I did. Okay, so this, I would just take all of these. Shorthand way of doing these things. All right, Control C. Control V. I'd get rid of these. 2 is female. Put this gender or sex. Okay. Save. And then I'll make this, it's nominal. Okay, and 1 is male. 2 is female. Okay, and put it into the same variable. Okay, so now took a second, but we have 1 variable, okay, with your with the labels in there. By the way, these might well be females. Okay, I'm not sure. And then you give me the opportunity to share projects. Okay, thank you. So to share the project, copy. To share this project, final demographic, you just go to share, type in your email address, okay, and share. Okay, did you use a different email for your your GCU? Sorry, you can send it to me offline. That's fine. So your Gmail account isn't loaded up with it.
No, it's just GCUs. I use GCUs. So yeah.
That's fine. You can email it to me. I'll share it with you, okay? Because this is kind of live. So, but that's how we do it, okay? So we just, what did I do? I went to upload. I went to SPSS. I did some data management, and then you can share it back and forth, you and colleagues or whatever, okay?
Okay, and then I think my last question is, how would I report my multiple regression analysis statistics report? So if I
Well,
was, yeah.
I mean, did you run it in Intellectus or no?
I run it in SPSS, but I wanted to get like a clear understanding of how to run it in into that statistics.
So let's just do it. Okay. So yeah, we're going to go to upload data. We're going to go to SPSS. We're going to choose the file. We're going to upload the file. So the reporting of it is basically how it spits it out. Okay. So, um, okay, you want to run a MANOVA, correct?
Yeah, it was a multiple regression analysis.
Oh, regression, my bad. Okay. So you just go to analyses and go to regression. Okay, and then under what's the outcome variable?
That's the what?
What is your dependent variable or your outcome variable?
It's financial self-efficacy. So it's the first one, FSE.
Got it. All right, and then what's your predictors?
My predictors are financial knowledge,
All of
FK.
them?
Yeah, and then no,
Oh, okay.
well,
Well,
yeah, well, I'll just tell you up front. So so my first one is financial knowledge, and then financial skills, and then financial attitudes, and then financial behavior. Those are my predictors.
okay. Are you going to be using all of these?
Well, I was only gonna only do it individually, but like if I were to use all of them because of their scales.
They're all individual scales or individual items?
Well, they're all individual items.
Okay.
So,
So,
so if I wanted to make it clear, the first scale, which is the financial self-advocacy, that has like 6 items,
I see
and
that.
then the financial knowledge that has 5, and
I
then
see
the
that.
financial
I
skills that
see it,
has 5.
my friend.
Yeah.
I see it. I got them.
Okay.
Right. So my question to you would be twofold. So one is, as I demonstrated earlier, you're going to want to create a composite score probably, okay? An average score. Financial self-efficacy, these 6 things are measuring the same thing. So you're going to want to back up, okay? So my guess is you're going to want to go to data management, okay? You're going to want to create under variable calculator. You're going to want to create financial self-efficacy average, okay? All right, and get a mean composite of these guys, all right? That is an average financial self-efficacy, okay, for example. And then let's just do the knowledge real quick too. So under variable calculator, okay, financial knowledge, okay, average. All right. I don't know if you have reverse coded items, but so financial knowledge, okay, grab those items, grab those 5. Okay. Financial knowledge average, we're averaging those 5 things. Okay. So to get to your question, okay, which is how do you report it? Well, you simply just run it. And by the way, GCU, you can buy it for whatever it is for 6 months or a month or something, okay?
Yeah, I already did that already.
Perfect.
And just to save you some time, one of the items for the financial management behavior scale that has two items that were reverse coded, which is 6 and 7.
Fine. So you're going to take an extra step under data management, reverse code them first, okay? Then variable calculator, okay? So you have to do those extra steps there, okay?
Okay.
But so yeah, I try not to go too much. I could spend hours doing data management, okay? But hopefully the demonstration of uploading it, reverse coding, you can find under data management and variable calculator to create it, okay? But let's just get to the other part that I think you and others will benefit from, which is how do I report this thing? So you select your outcome variable, financial self-efficacy, you select your predictors, financial knowledge. So like all these other tests, all you're doing is selecting the variables and hitting calculate. Okay. So how to report it is basically how it comes out, okay? You want to report the assumptions first, okay? All right. And then you want to report the results of it. Guess what? Financial knowledge, it predicts financial self-efficacy. All right. And then report the model because you're going to have several predictors, okay? But with one predictor that's significant, and it says it was significant. Okay. And then the other piece is the interpretation of those significant predictors, okay? And then of that table. So you want to present it basically how it's laid out here. Very simple. By the way, for folks that have not experienced SPSS, that's a 20-minute project that was just accomplished there. Okay. You're going to get raw output. You're going to search around for the assumptions and the interpretation. So just to know that it's a huge time saver to run this, okay? Compared to really Excel or State or anything else. So, and then just download that document, okay? So that's it. It's very, very straightforward. Okay. You can use the plot straight up, you can use the table straight up, and you can use obviously the accurate interpretation straight up. Okay. With a little bit of put it in your own voice.
Okay, and I'll do the same thing for the financial skills and also for financial attitudes and the financial behavior as well.
Yep. Right under data management. I mean, you could use a data cleaning wizard, or you can go here to reverse code items, okay, and variable calculator. So the data cleaning wizard tried to have a little shortcut there, okay, but you can also go to data management and do it manually, no problem.
Okay.
All right. You tell GCU hello for me. I love
Okay.
folks over there. All right. Terrific. All right. Thanks for joining. All right. Other folks that have shared their projects. Let's see. Ashley, is there anyone else there?
I don't have any other hands raised.
Okay.
If you did share your project, feel free to raise your hand.
Or if
Um,
you have other questions about anything I just covered, uploading data, creating composite scores, conducting analyses.
and Jim, there are a few questions in the Q&A whenever you get
Okay.
ready.
All right, so I'm in the chat. Let me get out of that. Okay, in the Q&A. All right, so thank you. How do I report statistical results? Okay, we just talked about that. How do I dummy code my ordinal and nominal variables? Great question. You don't have to dummy code. They're dummy coded for you. So that's one benefit of running tests in Intellectus. Will he deal with missing data in this section? Well, I'll say something about that. So let me come back to missing data. Let me see. How do I insert these visuals into paper APA format? Typically, these things are in APA format, okay? So, that's an APA formatted table. That's an APA formatted figure and so forth. So it's kind of in APA already there, Sunita. Excuse me, Amna. Okay. Okay, how do I deal with missing data? So missing data is it's its own animal, okay? Let me just get out of this thing. So I don't like to keep people's data, so I'm just gonna dump that, okay? Okay, just dump it. So typically, edit data. I should probably have a more formal thing about this. But basically speaking, okay, there's randomly missing data and systematic missing data. And I may not be using the exact language, okay? But if you're missing one individual is missing one item out of a whole scale, I'm willing to impute that score, okay? And I can impute that, okay, K1 by going to data management imputation and going to K1, okay? And I'm going to replace that variable there. So it's going to impute a score based on these other scores. This way I don't have to throw this person out, okay? Particularly if I had a sample size of 10 or 20 or 30, okay? I might want to keep every individual there, all right? So if it's a randomly missing data, they just happen to miss K1 at pretest, no problem. This is a different animal. They've systematically missed all the items there. They have pretest scores, but they don't have any post-test scores. I'm not willing to impute there, okay? I'm willing to dump that person. So if you're systematically missing all items on a subscale, a majority of items, I'm sure there's some technical, I would throw that into chat to find out, frankly, about strategies, but I want to just differentiate between a randomly missing one item out of a whole scale. By the way, those scales can be quite large, okay? This is a 4-item scale, but you can have 10, 30 items, and they just happen to miss 1 or 2, versus, hey, that whole subscale is missing. So I hope that answers the question. Good questions, and common. So yeah. All right, other questions at all? All right, so if that's the case, so let me just jump back here. Okay, so just to put out that if you want to schedule a consultation with me, faculty would be free, students would be paid. Student support, you can contact Samantha at samantha@intellectastatistics.com. Any faculty trials, help with your analyses, um, uh, demonstrations for you or other faculty member, courseware, you can contact Ashley at intellectus360.com, and then Melissa at melissa@intellectus360.com for general questions, okay? Our phone number is there, 888-383-6639, some websites, and then the QR code to schedule. Okay. All righty, so I think we will wrap up. Everyone will get the videos. Ashley will get that sent out. Ashley will also send upcoming videos. There's a qualitative webinar, there's a Doctor of Nurse Practice webinar, and there's a methodology webinar, all coming out. They each come out once a month. So please stay tuned for those. And I appreciate everyone's attention. So thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you all next time.